William Rees Jeffreys really was a remarkable man. He was born in the Victorian era, and he was actually a really keen cyclist. And he got to be absolutely fed up with the state of repair of the roads. It made his cycling really difficult. And so he set about trying, A, to improve the standard of the roads, and he also then set about making sure that they were tarmacked, if you like. From there, he then moved on, became a man of influence in the road sector, and effectively became the head civil servant in what was then the Ministry of Transport, responsible for roads. He obviously had a huge passion for the whole question of roads and their importance to all users. And when he died, he left a legacy. And that legacy we're using today, the investment from the legacy, to fund all sorts of different things, which I can obviously talk about. But that's really where he came from, that passion for roads, their importance for all road users, and he sought about to influence that. Now, these were areas within the objects of the fund to set up areas on the highway, adjacent to the highway, which would really enhance the attractiveness of the highway and travel. And very often they were set up with marvellous views associated with them. So to enjoy your travel, you could pull off, have a proper rest, not just in some lay-by with all the traffic thundering by you, but a proper rest with some marvellous views and maybe a picnic area and so on. And so the fund did actually set these up, and the first one was set up in about 1958. There were a couple in 1958. In fact, one was Hanger Hill at Reigate in Surrey, the other Chesilbank in Dorset. A lot were then set up in the 60s and 70s, and the last ones were in about 2001, and I think that was Haggerston Castle picnic site in Northumberland, just off the A1. The position we're now in is that we've literally, and this is due to a record keeping, literally we've just got a list of these sites and we know very little about them. That seems to be a great tragedy, because we believe that some are going to be in good condition, some perhaps are going to be overgrown and not used, and we'd really just like to understand, are there 72, which is on our list, or are there in fact more of them that we just don't know about? Secondly, can we say specifically where they are? Because at the moment, again, we just have maybe a length of road in a county, and that's it. And we'd really just like to get to grips with what is out there and encourage people to let us know any information at all they have about perhaps their favourite site. And perhaps also just to say that we believe that they exist in England, Wales and Scotland. We don't believe there are any in Northern Ireland, but if there are, we'd love to hear about them.
Yeah, I wonder who actually maintains them. Is that something that they were set up, they were funded by the Rees Jeffreys Road Fund and then taken over, for example, by the road operator, whether it's the county council or what's now National Highways, or whether somewhere or other there was an expectation that the Rees Jeffreys Road Fund would continue to maintain them as well? Because I guess there could well be people turning up and actually looking after these places without realising where they came from, in effect.
Well, you're absolutely right. And the plain fact of the matter is we don't know, other than I think it's pretty clear that we would have given an initial capital grant to set the roadside rest area up, but would not have then been involved in its subsequent maintenance. And I think therein lies an issue. I know that there is one local to near where I live, and that's run by the County Council's Countryside Department. And that may be replicated across the country. Interestingly, a lot of the sites have a plaque on them saying it's a roadside rest area funded by Rees Jeffreys. The one that I visited recently had no such plaque at all. Now, whether it's ever existed or it has been taken away, again, we simply don't know. So there's a lot we can actually learn from these, and just trying to put together that basic information, we may then start to talk with interested parties and the owners about the future of those particular sites.
I love the idea of actually then finding them all, cataloguing what sort of state of repair they're in, and then making sure that plaques go up and that we know exactly where they are and who's looking after them. So how can Highways news readers and Highways Voices podcast listeners get involved and help you out?
Well, we love people to help us out. That's the starting point. And we know you have readers right across the country, and we have a full list of the sites on our website. And I know some people have likened it to Monroe bagging for those people that like doing such things in Scotland, to see how many they can actually find. But even if you're out on your travels, know that there is a site in the locality and can just pop in, take a photograph, put its actual location, see if you could find a plaque that's there. But if not, then just send it into Rees Jeffreys Road Fund. Then we can really start to build up a proper library of what exists out there. I think it will then be for the trustees to determine quite how we move forward on from there. But as a starting point, to have over 70 sites across the country, by their very nature, they were going to be in some marvellous locations. Just to be able to put that log together, I think would be really great. So any help people can provide with any information would be gratefully received. So firstly, confirming that there still is a roadside rest at the location. That's number one. Whether it's still possible to park there. Can you confirm that the description on the list we've got is actually accurate? Is the correct road noted? Because it may be, of course, that road has now been bypassed or whatever. Have we got the GPS coordinates? You can even use what 3 words or a postcode to try and find the location. Few words on what the current condition is like. Is it tidy, well maintained, totally overgrown? Is there a Rees Jeffreys plaque there? And what sort of condition is that in? And then a photograph or 2 from a number of different viewpoints showing the roadside rest area itself. So I think if we can capture all, if not most of those, then we're really well on the way to getting the proper log of what's out there.